Welcome back to another All Terrain Trails episode. We're about to attempt one of the toughest, most remote trails in Alberta, and we're doing it in the harsh Canadian winter month of February. This might just be our biggest challenge yet.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another All Terrain Trails episode. My name is Johannes, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys along with me for some winter camping here in Alberta. It's the middle of February now, and we haven't been camping in a few months, so this is actually also my first time ever going winter camping. Usually our camping season starts around May, so this will be a new experience for me. Looking forward to it. We're heading out to a trail here out by Rocky Mountain House area. I'm in the Troopy again, and the last little update I gave you guys was that we had made contact with the gear shop. They were going to put me in contact with the body shop, and we were going to get all that situated for the spring and summer. What's going on now is I'm just waiting for the body shop to get back to me so we can begin some of the body work. So while I'm waiting, there's nothing else to really do except get out for some wheeling and for a trail run. So that is the reason why I'm in the Troopy again today, and that it is, again, not in the garage. The thing that I'm a little concerned about is the overnight temperatures, right? I have a heavy-duty sleeping bag that's good for minus 15, plus an extra quilt on top, plus some winter jackets and extra pairs of boots, and I feel as though I am prepared, but we'll see if I brought the right equipment to not freeze. Plus, I'm with Hawken today in his Jeep Gladiator, so he actually has a nice little portable diesel heater where we can pump some hot air into the tent overnight. So he's going to be in his rooftop tent, and I'm going to be in the pop top of the Troopy, and he has a Y diverter, so he can divert some hot air to his tent and some hot air to my tent, and then you just leave the diesel heater outside generating that hot air. So overall, I think we should be more than prepared. Our lowest temperature that I'm expecting to see overnight here is a possibility of negative 13 degrees Celsius. I think that we are sufficiently prepared to handle that between sleeping bags and diesel heaters and jackets and all that good stuff. So we're just coming up to Caroline now. It's a small town in Alberta, and it's funny. I always enjoy rolling through Caroline because when I first started as a paramedic, I had to. Most often in Alberta, you have to start out volunteering before you can actually work for a paid service. And one of the volunteer services is in Caroline here, and it was the closest service to me, which was still like an hour and a half. Sorry, no, it was more like 3 hours drive from my house, something like that. So I would drive out here. The shifts were 24 hours long, and you could stack a few of them on top. So, I would come out for a 48-hour shift. And I don't do it anymore because thankfully I work for a paid service, but every time I'm in Caroline, it just reminds me of those early days. Those are some long days, and to be honest, I'm glad I don't have to trek it out here every time I want to pick up a shift. So I'm grateful. It's nice to look back sometimes and remember those tough moments in your life, right? Those tough defining moments. So grateful for Caroline.
We top off on fuel one more time before turning west into the heart of the Rockies. There's not many trails in Alberta where you need to pack extra fuel, but this one is an exception. When we reach our destination, there will be over 100 kilometers of dirt road and low-range four-wheel drive between us and the nearest service station. I filled both the main tank and the aux tank in the Troopy, each holding 90 liters of fuel. On paper, this will give me 1,250 kilometers of range. But in reality, with deep snow and other obstacles, I expect to burn through this fuel much faster. Hawken is carrying a full tank and 40 extra liters of fuel. We want to mitigate any risk of running out of fuel, especially in the winter. Tire pressures are reduced after filling up. Then it's time to hit the service road that will take us to the trailhead. There is a mentality in which you only engage four-wheel drive for tough obstacles or when you're stuck. When you boil it down, four-wheel drive is actually a safety feature that should be used on slippery or uneven surfaces. In our opinion, four-wheel drive should be engaged on everything from gravel roads to rock shelves to snow drifts and more. After all, we did pay all that hard-earned money for a four-wheel drive, right? It could just save your life.
Alrighty guys, we have made it to the trailhead. Just had to take a couple service roads in. Not too bad. The conditions aren't too bad yet. Some fresh snow on the ground, but we are officially at the trailhead. There's lots of snow. We are going to, I think we're going to camp around here tonight and then start the trail in the morning.
Håkan has brought along his self-contained plain-R diesel heater for when the temps drop well below freezing overnight. This will be my first experience with a diesel heater, and I'm really looking forward to seeing if everything I've heard about them is true.
That's all it is.
Do you run it off your battery, or what actually powers it?
I use an EcoFlow.
Oh, so you plug it into your EcoFlow.
Yeah. But it does run off 12 or 24 volts. I'm just not gonna risk my truck not starting in winter. So this is the little 5-footer. I would almost like to trim this to just one, causing a catastrophe. And then I just gonna wedge it in the between the zippers and just use like a bungee or something, and it retains that. And that snaps in like that. Plug it into the 12 volt outlet. And it's going to go through a bit of a purge timer. And it's going to go through the startup process.
Once the heater and the hoses are prepped, the heater is left outside to run and to keep exhaust out of the tents. This 2D model burns 2 liters of fuel over 8 hours, drawing from a 7.5 liter built-in fuel tank. The good thing about diesel heaters is they produce a very dry heat in comparison to propane. The last thing you want is to have moisture build up in your tent during freezing temperatures. We hit the trail early the next morning after a hearty breakfast and coffee. After my first night with the heater, the only bad thing I can say about it is that it's too good. It makes it very difficult to get out of the warm, dry tent the next morning back into the cold weather.
Morning, everyone. We are officially on the trail. We had a fantastic night.
There's a bit of a split here and an obstacle. I'm parked right here, and I'm just gonna kind of get out and walk this and see which way we gotta go.
We had a fantastic night at camp. That diesel heater really was fantastic. And so we're on the trail this morning. We're in the trees right now. As far as I know, we're going to be in the trees for a little while, and then onto a riverbed, and then back into the trees, and then back into the riverbed. So for now, we are just making our way through this these tight corridors down this tree. So let's go.
The trail wastes no time getting straight into the good stuff. Less than 1 kilometer from camp, and we're already facing the first water crossing of many. Thankfully, this one in particular is relatively shallow with a firm base. Our end goal for this trail is to reach a remote waterfall that freezes in the winter, providing a unique viewing experience you can only get this time of year. Time will tell if the struggles of cold temperatures and tough four-wheel drive is worth the effort to see the falls.
So we just dropped down onto the riverbed here, crossed the stream twice now. I think we'll have to cross it quite a few more times. But what this reminds me of is, if you've ever seen The Long Way Round with Ewan McGregor and Charlie, I can't remember his last name, and they did The Road of Bones in Russia. If you remember that scene, well, those scenes of them crossing the Road of Bones in Russia, this feels like what I watched when I was watching that show, and just crossing this river, and it's kind of gray outside, and their video is a gray couple days there too in Russia. So I just thought that was interesting. My brain's making the correlation between we're in Canada, but it's, you know, I'm remembering that footage when they were doing the Road of Bones in Russia. So let's keep going.
Bad news is it's pretty heavy ice, pretty tall ice shelf. Well, we got to drive across this, and there's a hole there. There's a hole there. You can see someone fell in right there. So hopefully I don't just like break it. We'll try it.
One of the biggest risks we face on this trail is not actually the water crossings themselves, but the ice that forms over top of them. The ice will be one of the deciding factors, along with deep snow, whether we make it to the ice falls or be forced to turn back, or worse, end up stuck without being able to recover a vehicle. Life is a game of risk, and without it, there can be no reward. You can't go through life without risk, but you do have the power to choose what risks you take. If you do not choose, life will choose for you. So you might as well take a risk doing something you love. If you choose your risk wisely, you open yourself up to opportunity many people only dream of. This particular crossing looks like it could cause trouble. The ice appears to be very thin, with the stream visible underneath. Option 1 is to take the ice bridge and risk falling through. Option 2 is to cross the water and risk being unable to climb the shelf.
I'll figure that out later.
All goes well through the water crossing, but we didn't realize how deep the snow was on the other side. Håkan maneuvers the Jeep back and forth to pack down the deep snow and create a usable trail. I decide to take option 2 and attempt the ice bridge. The cruiser is lighter than the Jeep, and I feel confident it won't break through. The crossing is successful, but the cruiser succumbs to the deep snowdrift on the other side. While I work at digging out the Troopy, Håkan has pushed on ahead and has found himself in a new set of problems.
Spoke too soon. Oh yeah, this is a hole someone else fell in. See?
You gonna try to pull forward?
Yeah, see how much axle I leave behind? That's a big shell. I think I need traction pads to build myself a little ramp out of here.
It's getting late in the afternoon now, and the thought of camp is becoming more prevalent. We haven't made it nearly as far as we would have liked today due to the conditions. The next problem is where to actually stop for camp. We're currently crossing an ice and boulder field and need to push on to the next available flat spot. This does not come easily, and we find ourselves once again battling for inches in the deep concrete-like snow.
Guys, so we rolled into camp just now. Sun's setting behind the mountains over there, and we had to do a pretty big winch coming in here in this last part, so we didn't make it out to the falls today, but we're gonna be up early tomorrow and finish the trail. So hopefully tomorrow will be a little easier and we won't get stuck in some of that deep snow that we had to push through today. But anyway, it was a long day. We're gonna cook some food and then probably head to bed soon. Morning, guys. We had another night at camp last night. Didn't do too much filming because we were both just so exhausted from that day that we had. Woke up this morning pretty early. It's just after 8 in the morning. We're back on the trail and it's cold. Looks like a blizzard's blowing in, and Hawken is already stuck. Like, we're like maybe 50 meters out of camp and we already got to start digging. So, oh, this is tough, guys.
Morale was low after finding ourselves stuck less than 100 meters from camp. The thought of turning back entered my mind several times, but in the end I knew we had to keep pushing. We've come too far to give up now. There were times when the trail all but disappeared and we had to rely on our satellite navigation devices to guide us. A few more big pushes and we should reach the falls today. And then we saw it. At a distance, the ice falls came into view. Looks like one more big push and we'll have accomplished our goal. The only thing is, this just so happens to be the most difficult push yet. With the falls in view, morale is given a much needed boost. We work diligently, like a well-oiled machine, to push through the deep snow, get stuck, recover the vehicle, then do it again. You'll see here I'm snatching the Jeep backwards with the cruiser in reverse. This is not best practice, as you should only use forward gears for recoveries. This is because the gears in your driveline are cut at a certain angle for strength. When you stress the gears in the opposite direction, you have a higher chance of breakage. However, in this case, we have no room to turn around and no other option but to recover in reverse. And just when we think we're out of the woods, our recovery strap lets go. Thankfully, in this case, no one was injured and we have a spare strap. After a colossal effort, we reach the end of the trail, get out of the vehicles, and walk the last few meters to the falls. I can confidently say this has been the toughest trail I've ever done in a four-wheel drive.
My God, there it is. Would you look at that? All right, guys, we made it to the falls just right behind me here. Spectacular. This is definitely worth all the effort that we had to put in to get out here. It was a gnarly trail at some points, and we still have a heck of a long way to get back. So we're just gonna hang out here for a few minutes, enjoy, and then get going. But I just can't believe how amazing this is.
This life of time that's given to us all, it gathers round each night, each morn. We watch it pass and grow. It is all in our hands, it is all in our hands.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you win or lose, fail or succeed. What truly matters in this life is putting in the effort, going out there, and really doing it for yourself. Success will follow. Thank you so much for watching our all-terrain trails adventures. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing and supporting us on Patreon. Link will be in the video description. We'll see you in the next adventure.